In a booth at Crimson Lights, Nick gives Sharon a large brownie and a lavender latte as he takes a seat opposite her. She has just finished a conversation with Mariah and has also talked to Noah. Upon returning home, she embraced Faith so tightly that she caused her to squeak. Throughout her captivity, she focused on her children. Nick respects her for that and inquires whether she wishes to go home to rest. This is where Sharon desires to be, among people living their lives and feeling liberated. Now I feel the same, all thanks to you, she states, grasping his hand. She expresses that she will never take the simplest decisions for granted again. A part of regaining control over her life will involve discovering who was responsible for all of this. Sharon confesses that at one moment, she and Phyllis speculated whether the kidnapper could be someone familiar to them, possibly even one of their own children. Whoever was behind this understood so much of their background, their thoughts were desperate enough to consider if one of their kids was attempting to teach them a lesson. Nick is sure that none of their children would act in such a way. To him, all of this resembles some kind of extreme therapy. It seemed more like an attempted exorcism, she replies. He questions if it was successful. Sharon wishes to believe that the entire experience was ironically cathartic. They had to confront some of their problems and to save each other's lives. Nick finds it insane that this was all orchestrated for someone's amusement. Sharon clarifies that the voice appeared to be conducting a sort of psychological experiment. The individual behind this must have had some background in psychology. They understood what manipulations would hit the right nerves. She can't stop thinking about how it resembled aversion therapy. It was akin to a twisted therapeutic intervention. Nick is simply thankful they are safe. Now they must determine who was responsible so it won't happen again. Phyllis reunites with her children. Phyllis descends the steps of the athletic club and enters the foyer. She scans the area nervously until her children rush through the revolving doors. After sharing a group hug, the kids express that they've been extremely worried. Phyllis feels okay now that she has seen her children. They take their seats in the dining room. A burger and fries are placed in front of her alongside a large glass of red wine. The children smile as they observe her indulge. Phyllis appreciates the option between fries and salad, though it hardly felt like a real choice. She laughs about her relief that the food isn't poisoned. Her kids are eager to learn every detail. Phyllis recounts how she found herself confined in a clinic with Sharon. She's uncertain about the purpose of it all. It appeared to be some bizarre experiment designed to force her and Sharon to collaborate. Summer notes that the person responsible for this incident remains at large. This implies she continues to be at risk. Her mother reassures them that she doesn't wish for them to worry more than they already do. She has Chance watching over her and is resolute about tracking down whoever was behind this. Daniel instructs her to refrain from taking matters into her own hands. He insists that she must promise to allow the police to handle the situation. Phyllis reveals that her captor was well aware of her background with Sharon and subjected them to tests and puzzles. She ended up being poisoned and her life turned into a punchline for a riddle. The irony is that if it weren't for Sharon, she wouldn't be with her kids at this moment. She explains that when she regained consciousness, Sharon had no pulse, so she had to revive her. Daniel inquires if they managed to address any of their shared anger. With some hesitation, Phyllis concedes that they've gained a newfound appreciation for one another's strengths. Summer hesitates to bring it up but asks if this may have been the doing of Ian. It did cross her mother's mind, but Chance reassured her that he was cremated. This lunatic must be found, sooner rather than later, Phyllis states. Sally thinks Billy is a hero. At Billy's location, Sally informs him that receiving hints to locate Sharon and Phyllis makes this entire situation feel like the oddest kidnapping ever. She finds it hard to believe that he simply jumped into the task of finding them. There was absolutely no chance Billy wouldn't have pursued that. He couldn't ignore even the smallest opportunity of rescuing Phyllis. He begins to criticize himself for thinking that Phyllis abandoned him rather than understanding that something was amiss. Spectra reassures him that this is not his responsibility and that her captor likely instructed her to provide her family with a false narrative. While he sips on a drink, she expresses her happiness about his well-being. Billy worries that had they arrived just 5 minutes later, Phyllis and Sharon might have been harmed by gas poisoning. This all sounds ridiculous to Sally. At least there was a positive conclusion. Billy is anxious that whoever was responsible is still out on the streets. They can only hope the police locate them before something even more terrible can happen to another person. As Sally massages him, Billy expresses a desire to confront whoever harmed Sharon and Phyllis. However, he is more than willing to take off his hero cape and don his business attire. After confirming Phyllis is safe, he intends to focus on elevating their company to new heights. While stroking his neck, Sally tells him that he remains a hero even if he isn't in a cape. They share a kiss. Billy makes a confession to Phyllis. Phyllis arrives at Billy's place and interrupts him and Sally. She states that she's fine, and that everything is nice. She merely wanted to have a discussion with Billy. Sally announces that she needs to return to the office and promptly leaves.